So, Maya, can you talk to us a little bit about what's going on with you and the conversation around PrEP?
So, one of the things that I'm noticing is that PrEP awareness is not being spread evenly throughout the Black community. That's one of the things that I'm most concerned about. Um, there's PrEP that is being integrated in other communities except the Black community, and especially for Black women. So a lot of times, Black women don't even know that PrEP is for them or for us. Um, and when I talk to Black women about PrEP, their thing is, well, I see billboards, I see PrEP being advertised, but the images that I see, they don't look like me. I see two men, or I see a Caucasian person or couple. I don't see a Black woman, or I see a trans person. And so my thing is, we need to get to a point where we're telling our people that PrEP is for you, even men who choose to sleep with men. Where, and I was sharing this with Nika and Quandra just a little while ago, is that one thing that I know is these are conversations within that community. However, one of the black men are still not on PrEP like their white counterparts. And the question I have in my mind is why?
Well, I have a bigger question.
Yeah.
What is PrEP, and why are people worried about it? But well, I can tell you from a perspective of someone just sitting on the couch looking at TV.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those commercials with a laundry list of issues.
Yeah.
So visually, it looks like something that people don't want to be bothered with. But tell us what the benefits are and why, in particular, we're looking for Black people to take it.
So PrEP is a pill, and anytime you take a pill, there may be side effects that are involved. So PrEP is a pill that you take every day, and what it does is it significantly reduces uh, the ability to come into contact with HIV. That's what it is. It's a great preventative drug. So it's Truvada, and Truvada is very sketchy right now. There's a lot of things that's going on with Truvada as far as what it does to internal organs. But they're also playing with other medications like Descovy and things like that are a little bit gentler on the internal organs. But that's what it's for. It's a great way to prevent the spread of HIV from person to person. Um, and so, like I said, it's something that you take every day. And if you did not want to take a pill every day, they have something called PEP. And PEP is when you come into sexual contact with someone, say it was just random, you go take the pill. So it's best to take it within 24 hours. You can take it up to 72 hours, and you'll still have that protection in your body from coming in contact with the virus.
Wow. That's different for it to be on the back end. It's kind of wow.
So what I'm
Thank
hearing,
you.
yes, thank you.
Yes.
What I'm hearing is that PrEP is a preventative antiviral.
Yes.
Now, is this something that you would take if you already have contracted HIV? Is this something that you would take to prevent yourself from contracting it, spreading it? Like, when is appropriate and who should be on this?
So anybody who's sexually active, it's beneficial to be on PrEP. You have to be negative, it because it is to prevent HIV from coming into contact with the body. So if you're already HIV positive, it's not. It's not going to help. But you are still on those medications anyway because PrEP is an HIV med. That's what Truvada is. That's what Descovy is. People who are HIV positive take some sort of drug like that anyway. So yes, it is specifically for people who are negative, and you need a prescription for it. It's fairly reasonably cost with some insurances, especially here in California. In other places, not so much.
Thank you. So I want to talk about like why people are not just running into their doctor like, hold up, give me the answers. Why is that not happening across the board? What's stopping us?
Ding, ding, ding. The $1 million question. It all comes down to stigma, right? And also, we were kind of getting into this before we walked into the studio. This idea of like, well, if it's not for me, then why should I?
Yeah.
Or people will maybe think that I actually am positive if they knew I were taking it. So I think personally having I'm not working at Maya's clinic, but personally having previous to private practice, I was doing a graduate course with public health students and things. And all the research is kind of showing that when it comes to the Black community specifically, there's certain subsects of us that are much more at risk. Like, if you're in a small community that funnels in from some of the bigger prison systems like San Quentin, or in certain areas of New York, you're going to be more likely to have someone who went into a prison where they didn't have access to condoms or treatment come out, resume heteronormative practices around sex. And usually Black women will feel more pressure to want to have unprotected sex. Let's say if you have been single for a while, you want to have kids, any of the reasons that any of us have had unprotected sex in our life. I think that's where we need to target and really say that it's not a marker against you to say, I'd like just a little extra to protect myself and my body and my sexuality. And then even when you give that education, unfortunately, it's not enough though. And this is where the public health students always got it wrong and ended up spinning their wheels, because public health teaches you to try and stop the epidemic, but not what to do once you're in it. It always comes down to intimacy, because people can have education like, I knew if I had unprotected sex, I could probably get HIV. Everybody has a story of something like that who's contracted it, basically.
Yeah.
Or I knew my partner may have had risky sex practices, but you did it anyway. And why is that? Because it comes down to a story about love or something like, I wanted them to trust me. Or I'm getting a lot of pressure from my immigrant family. My Nigerian in-laws really want me to have a kid soon if we're going to keep receiving support. So you have to get down to the why, the story for people, and make that less shameful. That, even within this, a couple, that if you want to keep this relationship, it's like still all good. Yeah. You can do that, and it doesn't have to bring shame to also have your health at the forefront. You can still get pregnant. You can still have unprotected sex with someone else, and now the burden of your health isn't on what they're doing with their time. I think that's where we move.
I'm hearing normalcy too. You said remove the stigma of shame, just normalizing the conversations so that we can speak for our lives. Just normalizing the conversations. Let's make honesty sexy. Can we do that?
Honesty is sexy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Real talk.
Is it though? That's a whole other conversation.
Yes, make consent sexy.
Okay. So I just want to kind of go back to something that you had said, Quandra.